On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Tony puts monsters in bubbles and Ethan breaks a plate. We talk about the week's biggest news and answer your questions. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. My name is Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
Hey, Tony.
What's going on, sir?
Not much. Saturday night, doing a podcast.
We do that on Saturdays sometimes.
Indeed.
You know what's not fun? When you
Okay, go ahead. No.
when you get off work and you go to see something that's wrong with your car and you have to pay $500 to fix it.
Oh, you're talking about the tires.
Yeah.
Did you like replace all the tires or just like?
No, that's just two of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It would have cost me $1,000 to replace all four tires.
Wow.
Uh, but actually, it probably would have cost me about $850 altogether. But still,
Honestly, I think you're getting ripped off on the price. Like the price of my tires is like $400 for a full set.
well, truck tires are a lot more expensive than car tires. They're much bigger.
Yeah, potato, potato.
I'm driving a big old truck, and those tires are not small. They're not cheap.
Let me
Um,
get you one of those trucker hats.
but my truck had been having this problem where it felt like I was in a rock tumbler driving down the
Oh,
road.
yeah.
Uh, and the guy pulled the truck into the bay, and within 2 minutes, he was back in the shop. He's like, "I can tell you what's wrong. You need at least two tires. You should probably get three to be safe, but you definitely need two." Um, and he said it was basically like driving over a speed bump every time the tires went around because they were really bad. They were on the. It was weird because it was on the inside of the tire. I would never have seen it. The rest of the tire looked fine, but the part inside the tire was where all the wear was coming from.
Hmm.
And he said the treads were starting to separate from one of the tires. So, yeah, that was not good. But $500 later, and my car doesn't wobble anymore. So there
That's
you go.
good. That's very good. It's
So
like
that's how
it's
I
like
spent
getting a
my.
new pair of shoes after having a hole in them.
It sort of is.
Except this time you only have one shoe.
Yeah, I only bought half the number of shoes my truck needed. So that was fun. But you know what else is fun is video games, and that's what we're actually here to talk about. So, uh, do we want to talk Final Fantasy again? Is that what you've been playing this week?
That's what I played. I'm pretty sure that's what you played, and you just went and
I
changed what you played in the notes.
I did play Final Fantasy VII, but I also play. I guess I could talk about mine. Then we can get into the Final Fantasy talk. I played Bubble Bobble for Friends this week on the Switch.
That sounds like a new game.
It is a new game. I don't know if it's out on any other systems or if it's just Switch.
For those who don't know what Bubble Bobble is, it's those characters from Bust a Groove.
Bust a move.
Must Move, sorry.
Bust a groove is what you do when you dance.
It's another game. No,
uh,
no, they're actually from Bubble Bobble. I don't know when the other thing started, but there you
uh,
go.
Bust a Move came out after Bubble Bobble. It's technically called like Puzzle Bobble in Japan, and they just changed the name over here to Bust a Move.
Make it sound more like a hip hop or dancey game. I don't know.
A little bit, I guess, yeah. But Bust a Move is technically a sequel to the original Bubble Bobble. But what Bubble Bobble is a single screen sort of platforming game where you
With
play
some
as.
level of puzzle element, right?
Yes, there is a little bit of a puzzle element to it. You play as a dinosaur. Originally it was either Bub or Bob, which is
I
where the
don't think
name
it's a
came from.
dinosaur. It's like a little baby dragon.
They may be dragons. They look like dinosaurs. That's what I've always
They're
called them.
adorable.
They are super adorable. Um, And there are enemies just scattered throughout the screen. There's things you've got to get past, like air jets or platforms that um, form little puzzle elements or little maze type elements. And the only thing that you can do is spit bubbles out of your mouth. And if you do that close to an enemy, the enemy will get trapped inside the bubble. And then you either have to pop the bubble with the spikes on your back, or you can jump on them and do like a ground pound sort of move that will also pop the bubble from above.
And that injures or defeats the enemy.
Exactly. And the whole point is just to get rid of all the enemies on the screen. And then once you've done that, it fills the screen up with bonus fruit that you then have a few seconds to run around the level and try to collect it all to get more points, because the games were originally an arcade game, and so it was all about scoring as many points as you possibly could.
I used to have the Game Boy game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that, but I missed that game. It was fun.
So this is a brand new game for the Switch. It has around 100 levels, I think, so it's not a very long game. Most levels you'll finish within about a minute. Um, there are some that get a little longer. It's not a very difficult game. It definitely harkens back to those old arcade roots where it was short and sweet. And I don't remember exactly how the mechanics were to get you to just continue feeding quarters in the game. If it was a little more difficult back then, or
I
if
think
there
it
was
had
a
a timer.
timer, or whatever. And you
Pretty
just
sure it was just a heavy timer.
try to get through as many levels as you could in the time that you had. Of course, it's free now. I mean, it's not free. The game costs like $30 or
It's less
$40.
costly on your quarters in the long run.
It is less costly on your
You
quarters.
just pay for it all
Uh,
up front.
so if you're good at the game, you can probably finish the entire game in about 2 hours.
If you want to throw quarters at your Switch, I mean that works too. Just toss a coin
You
to your Switch,
you
your
probably shouldn't
Switcher.
do that unless you have a bard singing the song sitting right next to you while you're playing the game.
Yeah, I still have never heard that song.
You need to go listen to that song. It is super catchy. Um, but yeah, the game is really fun. It's a lot more fun, of course, if you have people to play along. I really wish it had online multiplayer, but it's all couch co-op. Um, like the name implies, though, this time instead of being just a two-player game, you can play with up to four people. So you can have four Bubs and Bobs running around on the screen all at the same time.
You sure that's not too
Uh,
much cuteness?
it may be cuteness overload.
Do they still get that fireball ability?
There are different upgrades that you can get, and you'll pick an upgrade before you start your run through. So like there's things like that, or there are ones that you can shoot long range bubbles, basically, so it extends the reach that you have with the bubbles, things like that. There are bonus letters that you can get that will give you additional points or fruit or you know whatever the case may be.
Neat.
Uh, One little nice bonus that you get though is you get the original game just as a freebie. It's just sitting on the
Ooh,
menu, and you can go play the original arcade game as well. So that kind of gives you a few extra levels to play outside of the 100 that are in this game. But it's really fun. Even playing by yourself, I had a lot of fun. Playing through some of the levels single player and trying to see how fast I could do them, or trying to get set up enemies to get combos. So you like put them in the bubble and then try to push them around the level without popping the bubbles,
that sounds like a
so that you can
challenge mode.
get them grouped up together and pop multiple bubbles at the same time to get combo bonuses for your score multiplier. Uh, the biggest problem that the game has, I think, is probably the price. It's a little on the high side, I think, at $40. Um, but I don't know. That's something you'd have to decide for yourself. The game does have, like I said, about 100 levels. So It's one of those games that I think would be really fun if you have a bunch of friends over and you're looking for something to play for a little bit. You can toss that in and get through the game. If you have four players all playing, you can get through the game really quickly. So it would
Sounds
be a
fun.
fun party game if you have it to play. Uh, there's not a whole lot to really say about it other than that. It's a fun game. So if you can find it, if you're okay with the $40 price tag, pick it up, or you might wait and see if it, goes on sale at any point. Uh, but if you have friends over, it's definitely a fun time.
Okay.
So, been really enjoying that when I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII.
Of course.
So that's, like many people this week, is still dominating my game time.
It's going to be that way for a while.
So, how far have you gotten into the game? Have you finished it at this point?
I am.
Or
Chapter 14 is where I'm at right now.
okay, so I think is there 18 chapters?
Something like that. Where I'm at is the point of no return. Like if I go, uh, well, what is it? When you have to do the wall climb after the thing where you're going inserting all those batteries into the thing while climbing the wall.
Yeah.
That's my point of no return.
Okay.
Gonna climb the wall, get in front of Shinra headquarters, and then infiltrate there.
Yeah.
But
It's really sort of hard to gauge, for everybody that's played the game in the past, they know how, that this section of the game works out. And it's in the original game, it was fairly short. It was only like 5 or 6 hours to get through the Midgar
oh
section
yeah,
of the game. And so they've taken that and expanded it to like 35 hours.
yep.
So you can say, yeah, I'm at this point in the story, and while that gives you a vague idea of kind of where you're at in the progression, there could be a whole bunch of stuff they've added after that will extend the gameplay past where you would expect it to kind of be wrapping up.
It's really gonna be weird getting to the point where this game wraps up because I know there's gonna be so much more after it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of story left after this. I'm very interested in seeing how they wrap this up and sort of make this its own little game inside the bigger game.
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done. Well, actually, I got everything done that I can do right now, except
Mhm.
for mastering all the green material. You have to master. One of my side quests is master all the green materia.
Yeah.
So there's I think 12 of those, and I've only gotten 4 of them done. So I got a little bit of work ahead of me on that. And then once I do that, that's going to unlock another boss fight to
Okay.
earn another summon.
Yeah.
One that I don't think you're supposed to get in the town at this point in the game, but I mean, I really want that one, so.
I'm kind of thinking I might have set myself up for a little bit of difficulty later on because there've been a couple of pieces of materia that I have skipped and not gone and tried to get.
If you're talking
Um,
about ones that are behind certain gates, they're gated off until later.
yeah, I know you can go back after you finish the game and get everything.
Speaking of that, there are suggestions for like if you want to go and uh, get XP or whatever, or get a bunch of AP, which is what this is probably what I should do, but I'm not going to just yet.
Hmm.
Is you go beat the game and then you can, or yeah, it's beat the game and then you have your new game plus mode with the
Yeah,
chapter select. Put it on hard mode, and you get 3 times the experience, and you can get like 6 times the AP per battle or something. Or no, it's double experience, 3 times the AP, and then you throw on your AP plus materia, which is really handy. And so you're looking at 6 times the AP, and so most fights you're looking at what, like 3 to 10 AP. So
hmm
multiply that by 6, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
And that's one reason it's like I should go and do this, but at the same time, I really want to do this other thing.
Yeah.
But I won't be at max level by then, so I might be considering my options.
There's been one particular piece of material that I talked to you about and asked how to get it. I never went back to do it. And as I was getting ready to hit the boss fight, Barrett was like, "Hey, you want to go get that piece of material we left back there?" And I said, "Nah, not right now."
Oh,
Forgetting that you can't go back and get it after you've passed it because it locks everything out after that. You can't go back and explore those sections again until you finish the game. So, the other thing I hadn't thought about until just now is I'm very curious to see how progression is going to carry over. Are they actually going to carry your character over from this game to the next one?
they'll
Or
have to, yeah.
is it going to be something where they're like, okay, at this point you should be here, so we're just going to set the character level to this. You have these skills, whatever.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah, that's something like what Dot Hack did. It would be you start one game, and it's like you get to the max level. You get on that game, you go to the next game. That's your starting level, and then and you have all the stuff you carried over from. But if you didn't have a completed game, it would just start you as okay. Now you're this level, and uh, here's some fun items to have
yeah. I'm really curious to see if like people go back and grind out and get, Cloud and everybody up to like level 99.
maxed out at 50.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Okay.
or should if I'm looking at it correctly.
Is that something where they're going to drop you down to a lower level to start the next game?
No, that would be quite insulting to do.
So,
They might even. Ooh, what if it's just 2 disc? Nah. Uh, I don't know. Maybe they'll end up raising the level cap on there.
I would expect after, if they just carry the character over from one game to the next, that, it's level 50 now, it'll, you can get up to level 90 or 100 in the next game. Um, Something like that.
Right.
So, uh, I know I'm getting very, very close to some things happening that I don't want to happen to some characters. Uh, because I like these characters a whole lot more than I did the first time around.
All the characters on here are a lot more likable this time
They
around.
are, and they're all much more fleshed out. They're all, instead of just this name and a character that you see kind of in the periphery, every character has, a story, a detailed story involved now, and their own completely unique personalities that have been fleshed out far past what they were when the game was first released. So I don't think there's a character in this that hasn't had their role expanded in some way.
Yeah, it's really interesting, like watching Cloud, who's like has no emotions, and then he's developing emotions as it goes on.
Yeah, Cloud has become a way better character this time than he was in the earlier game, or even the Final Fantasy VII movies.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird seeing the what happens in the it's gonna be weird going to the end of this game and then considering what happens in the movie.
Yeah,
It's like what caused this reversal in personality here.
yeah. I mean, I guess they would have to. Yeah, that's gonna affect the canon of the this you know
I guess they'll have to
property as a
remake the
whole.
movie.
Oh no, Square Enix would just hate that, wouldn't they? They could just show off their flowing hair tech that's improved even more than it already has, because they
Oh
really
man,
like showing off their hair simulation.
I th- think his hair was more yellow in the movie.
It might have been. Um,
I
I
know.
know
I know. In the original PS3 tech video, that ended up being just used for that Crisis, was it Crisis Core?
Crisis Core, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Cloud's hair was like was not what it is now. It was closer to the original in like bright yellow. Oh man, good
I wonder if
times.
I wonder if they'll incorporate any of Crisis Core into.
You mean story or
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe we'll see Crisis Core HD
maybe.
followed by Dirge of Cerberus HD.
They're just gonna redo it all. Everything Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
That's what
and
they're
then we'll
doing
see
for the
Before
next 10
Crisis
years.
HD and then Advent Children HD. So we'll have AC, BC, CC, DC, and no C.
And I'm really curious how they're gonna name it. Like, what is Final Fantasy VII 2 going to be called? Is it just they're not going to do like Final Fantasy VII Remastered 2, right? That would be weird.
Remake 2? I don't know.
Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, do they do that? I don't know that they
Final
label this
Fantasy
part.
7 2. Materia
Light,
Dreams.
Lightning Returns. Wait.
There was a speedrun of that, I think, last night on a news story that we'll be talking about later.
Hmm. I have noticed in this that uh for anybody that complains about Final Fantasy 13 having a lot of hallways, Final Fantasy 7 has a lot of hallways too.
Yeah, but there's a lot going on in those hallways.
That's true. And I'm not one
And
of those people that thinks it's necessarily a bad thing. They're telling a very specific story and giving you a little bit of freedom in some spots, but then making sure you get to the right place at the right time to tell the story that they're trying to tell.
yeah, like the thing with 13 was the entire game up until the final chapter is just one solid hallway. With this one, it's like, okay, now I can backtrack a bit. I can go and explore this area, see what's around here. And then it's like, okay, well, now I need to go back and do more story. So it's more hallway. But,
Speaking of Final, oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, speaking of Final Fantasy 13, I have access to Shadow now, so I am going to stream Final Fantasy 13.
It's all downhill from here.
I gotta finish Final Fantasy 7 first now, but I will stream Final Fantasy 13 once I'm done.
I need to finish Lightning Returns one of these days. Not looking forward to it. Even though I have this big collector's edition on the shelf. Oh, man.
All right, yeah, I think I'm probably around the 9 hour mark in this game now.
I'm over 30 hours.
So I think I'm somewhere around a third. If the game is 30 to 35 hours long, I'm somewhere around a third of the way in.
Okay.
So I know I
Are
am
you going to try
really.
to max out the level or anything? Or are you just going
I
through it?
doubt it. I'm just gonna get through the story.
Okay.
I may go back and get some materia that I've missed just so that I have it in case I need it for whatever reason in the second game. But I'm not going to try to max out levels for any of the characters or, master every materia or, level up every weapon, stuff like that. I'm not going for that 100% completion in
The
anything.
thing that makes me sad about mastering a materia in this game, in original, you it took a lot of work to master a materia. We all know that.
Yeah.
And then whenever what your reward for mastering one was, here's a brand new one that just came out of your mastered one. It's like, oh, now I have a new one to start
Yeah,
from
you get to
zero.
do it all over again.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, now I have another cure. Let's put this on this character, and now everyone has a cure.
I
In
have
this
think
one, it's like,
that
all right, you mastered it. Good job.
yay,
That's it.
you get 5 gil. Um, I have, thanks to a very particular boss fight, learned that parrying is incredibly powerful in this game. Like, it makes some fights
Oh,
so easy.
wait, parry or block?
Parrying, you putting Cloud into oh, whatever it's called, um, hitting the triangle button to get
Yeah,
to
that.
switch his
Yeah,
stance.
yeah,
Um, if you do that and hold the guard button, I think it's R1,
yeah.
he'll parry any physical attack,
Oh,
and it does huge amounts of damage and increases the stagger bar significantly.
I'll need to keep that in mind.
It reduces a lot of range damage, but it's really, really powerful against melee attacks.
I'm guessing that tip I gave you for a certain fight worked out pretty well, which is why you figured that part out then, I guess.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. So that boss fight I had to do 4 or 5 times before I finally got it and beat him. That's the first time, and it's not because I think that I'm under leveled or anything like that. I don't need to go grinding. It's just that that particular boss fight wanted me to use skills I hadn't really been paying attention to previous to that.
Yeah, that's where they just kind of start testing your abilities at that point. And then it kind of gets tested as you progressing on. And then it just falls right back off. And it's like, back to
Mhm.
normal. All right, have fun.
Yeah, I haven't hit a point in this game like you do with a lot of RPGs where you feel like you're not supposed to be there yet, like you're considerably under leveled for the area that you're at. There have been some difficult fights, but nothing that I have just felt like I have to go spend 2 hours grinding out levels to come back and try this again.
Yeah, and trying to find a good place to grind out levels is a challenge in itself already in this one.
That is true. It does feel like this game is very much balanced for you to just go through it and not spend a lot of time just wandering around areas fighting things.
That segment that you're talking about, I really didn't feel I was under leveled for anything until I got to that area. And that's when it's like, okay, now this is starting to get a little more difficult. And just kind of wishful hoping I could grind levels is what my thought process was, but it's
Yeah,
really just power through it, and then eventually you're good enough still,
yeah.
because it's just they're just testing your everything at that point. You should have like a full inventory of stuff to keep you going, just because why not?
Hmm. Yeah, so I am continuing Final Fantasy. It dominates any time that I have a few minutes to sit in front of the TV and play something. Uh, that's what I want to be doing is playing Final Fantasy 7. So, like they have taken this game that was considered one of the greatest games of all time and just made it better.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I kind of feel bad for anyone who assumes the game's changed too much and is not even willing to give it a try, because I mean it is a lot of fun still.
Yeah, I there's not been a moment where I was like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? This doesn't make any sense. Everything that I have seen makes the characters more interesting. The combat feels really good. I would love a proper classic mode to try to play through the game once where, when you're in a fight, it is classic Final Fantasy VII combat, but I'm not missing it like I thought I would going into this.
I really wouldn't mind if they were to turn around and just like give us those static camera angles in this game, and just release it as with the stats from the original Final Fantasy VII, and it played the original way, just
Yeah.
just as a fun little nod towards, yeah, we acknowledge this game is still fun. Here you go, enjoy that, and then it's like for everyone else, you can play our new content the way we're envisioning it now.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
I mean, I, I would play that too.
what I really want is not necessarily that. I want a Final Fantasy IV done in the Octopath engine, uh, re-released.
No,
Because
Final Fantasy One in the Octopath engine.
I don't know that Final Fantasy. Well, they would completely update Final Fantasy One if they ever re-released it like that.
They did an update like back on PSP.
But man, Final Fantasy IV still is my favorite game that has ever been released in that. So I would love, like they did with the PlayStation, the Vita version of it, give you everything Final Fantasy IV, the after years, and then that mobile stuff that connected the two games.
Hmm.
Put that in the Octopath engine and let me play that. I will give you all the money. So get a couple guys working on that so that in between Final Fantasy VII releases, I can play Final Fantasy IV.
Oh man, I'm sure there's a emulator out there that can do that 3D effect somewhere.
Maybe
I've seen them. Wait, was for Super Nintendo or?
four was Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I've seen them for NES, like that are done through like Chrome and stuff as just web
Mhm.
browser emulators. I don't see why there couldn't be an SNES one.
I think the Super Nintendo sprites would work really well in 3D.
Hmm. We'll have to see if this already exists and we just never looked for it.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to mention about Final Fantasy VII before we move on?
Not really.
Okay.
It's really good.
It's
I'm glad
very
I'm
good.
not one of those people waiting for the full collection or full set to be released.
I am very glad I didn't wait. Um, I'm very, very glad I didn't wait. So,
Yeah, you would have been
well, let's.
very jealous when I started talking about it, right?
Oh yeah, after last week, if I didn't already have it, I would have been trying to figure out how to get it because I would not have wanted to wait 5 more years or 6 more years for the third part to finally be out to be able to play that game.
Oh
So,
gosh.
but
Yeah,
yeah, just
yeah. Thanks for the time check on that one.
you're not getting Final Fantasy VII Part Two next year. It's not happening.
D- d-
So,
you don't have to give up hope.
well, let's take a quick break. We will come back and we will talk about the news. So we still, I don't believe at this point, know when the PS5 is going to be out. I don't think Sony has given a proper time frame.
I think they're still expecting holiday this year.
I would expect holiday as well. Microsoft has already come out and said that Xbox will be out in, I think, November. That's what they said.
Yeah,
Um,
close enough.
I would expect PS5 to be out around the same time, but Sony has, or a report from Bloomberg is suggesting that Sony is planning on limiting the number of PS5 units that will be available for the first year uh, because of costs. So,
I don't know about that. I mean that's like saying, well, no, I guess that could be right.
they say that Sony is planning to sell, I think, or see, around 5 million consoles uh, for this fiscal year, which ends on March 2021.
5 million? That's actually okay. Yeah, that's actually doable.
So, and they are predicting that the system will be 499 or 549 at launch.
Okay.
So this is not going to be an inexpensive machine. And I would bet the
The Xbox will
Series
cost
X is
about the
not going to
same.
be
Yeah.
either. Yeah. Now, these are going to be $500 or $600 machines. So,
Goodbye
um,
paycheck.
But Microsoft is also expecting to have multiple versions of their system. One that will probably be a little less expensive, but at the same time, will also be not quite as powerful. Uh,
Mm.
so if you're
Or it's gonna be
planning
like
on,
one without a disk drive.
they absolutely may. I don't know how many um, Xbox One S all digitals they've sold. The Xbox SAD. Um,
I don't know, but that would actually be a smart move. Is just to keep releasing a diskless
it would.
variant.
I have mine, and I don't miss the disk drive. I mean, occasionally I do because I'll sometimes see a game on sale on disc that I'm like, I'd really like to have that, but I can't get it because there's no way to take the disc and put that license on the system in any way to download the digital version. Um, but at the same time, Microsoft runs plenty of sales on the Microsoft Store as well. So
Yeah, Game Pass is really
yeah,
amazing,
and with Game Pass, there's no need because you get games for free and you
especially
just
those first
download
party
them.
ones. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I imagine that is also going to continue. Their first party games will all release on Game Pass day and date with the retail versions of the games.
You'll be able to play Halo Infinite on release date.
Yep, which is going to be nice. And one of the reasons that I'm really looking towards uh, picking up, uh, possibly if I get a system around launch time, I don't know that I will, not at $500, but uh, that I would be picking up an Xbox first this generation. Um, but at the same time, if xCloud is available and you can play, just imagine if xCloud is available and you can play all of the Xbox Series X games on an Xbox One digitally through streaming.
Well, I
I
mean,
would
I
love.
think for the first year, we're not going to see Xbox One X or
We won't see
Series X
exclusives for the
exclusives for
system.
our first
No,
year.
they'll be available on both games or
Yeah,
on both systems.
yeah,
So
and I think the PS5. I think they're still doing the backwards compatibility with PS4, right?
yes, it will definitely be compatible with the PS4. I think they've talked about having multiple generations. Of course, with PS3 would be the one weird exception where you may have to play those through streaming to get those to work.
Man,
Um, but with XCloud,
at least they're trying, right?
they're trying, and I think they're working with Microsoft on streaming. So PlayStation Now may be a much better service around the time of the PS5 launch.
It's kind of nice seeing that they're working together for services now, but
Yeah, it is.
I mean, they're still
Uh,
separate, but it's working.
and with xCloud, I if xCloud is running on the Xbox One and all of those games that are Xbox Series X and Xbox One games, I'm not going to be in a hurry to upgrade because I love what I'm getting so far with streaming services. So it's been a very positive experience for me in terms of games actually running, um, and all of that. So when I'm playing a game and streaming a game, it feels like I'm playing the game directly from my system or from my computer.
Good.
So I am very much looking forward to see what happens with streaming services as we get closer to the next generation. Uh, GDQ has something going on. I think it's currently happening as we speak.
Yeah, I've actually been watching the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right now. Resident Evil 7 is being run. It is new game plus any percent being ran by LP Soldier 0303 with an estimate of an hour and 35 minutes, and he's an hour and 13 minutes into it. So it's almost done.
Okay.
Uh, let's see. This is for direct relief or the funds are going to direct relief. This is, for the COVID-19
Hmm.
uh, stuff that's been happening everywhere, and this is also part. I mean, part of it's for that, and another part is this is a response to having to delay SGDQ for a couple. I don't know. It's like 2 months delayed now. I think until
Yeah.
August.
Yeah, I think
So
that's right.
July, June, July. Oh, it's about a month delay, give or take, somewhere in there. But they've got it delayed till August, or they might go further away. I don't know. I haven't checked anything beyond the August delay. But this is kind of filling in a bit of that gap that's not going to be there here in 2, 3 months or something, or two
Hmm.
months. And it's just a weekend long event. So by the time y'all are hearing this, I'm sure the videos will probably already mostly be up on YouTube at that point. So you
Yeah.
can check that out, or you can go to their Twitch page and catch the VODs.
Okay. So,
Right
I
now,
would,
they just got right over 200,000 right now.
that's pretty good. What is their goal for this? Do they
I
have
don't
one
I don't I
set,
don't know what they have for the goal.
or is it just they're trying to get whatever they can get, and any amount is good?
Any amount is always good, but I don't think they set actual goals for these mini events. They're not full blown GDQ events, even though
Yeah.
it's the same people. And this isn't like a gathering of people. This is all online. People are streaming from their houses, and GDQ's just hosting it through their stuff, like they
Yeah.
would an event, but not in person.
Yeah.
Like a game earlier was Pump It Up, which is a kind of like DDR, and the guy's in like his living room or whatever with a full arcade setup playing this game.
That guy
So,
really likes DDR.
man, it was just crazy watching him hitting all the buttons with his feet. It's just nuts.
No.
So yeah, that's been my weekend watching that and playing Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Well, I imagine I will check out some of those streams on YouTube after I don't know if they'll actually go up on YouTube or not this
They
time,
they
but
they will. It's just I don't know how long until they do that or when or
yeah. Yeah, there's
depends
some of these that
how lazy they are on the backside of all that.
if they're up on YouTube, I will watch these because I do like to catch a lot of the highlights after the fact. So, a couple of things have either been announced as being delayed or just outright canceled
Yeah, pretty
for
much everything. Yeah.
obvious reasons. The two biggest ones now, I think there were two announced this week.
Did you know
You
that
had one,
2021 was delayed until the end of this year?
really.
Yeah.
Well, a delayed year is, whatever that quote is.
Yep.
San Diego Comic Con was canceled, just outright canceled
Obviously.
for this year. And then South by Southwest, what's going on with that one?
I just threw that in there for mentioning that the Sonic announcement thing because there's supposed to be a monthly Sonic announcement each month or something, and that's where their next one was going to take place. And then all this hit, and so they delayed it. Here we are, another month in, and it's like, yeah, we're still delaying the announcement.
Okay. So,
Oh, speaking of that, that movie is downloadable now.
yeah, you can't rent it yet, though. I really want to see it, but I'm not going to drop the $20 that it costs just yet. So, I need to see that movie, though.
You do. It's pretty good. Kids will
So,
probably like it too.
oh, I'm sure they will.
And
They've
if they
loved
don't, you
all
can
of the
always get better
trailers that have come out.
kids.
Well, I don't know how successful that would be.
You just bring it to them slowly; they'll understand.
They're pretty good kids, so I don't think I have to worry about them not liking Sonic. Uh, one of the things that people always say whenever any new hardware comes out is, can it run Crisis? Right?
That was a saying back in the day.
That has been
Not
a
Crisis
saying.
2 or 3, just Crisis.
No, just the first one. Uh, And of course, people when the Switch came out were always like, Switch is cool and all, but can it run Crisis? Well, as of this week, the answer is yes, because it was announced that Crisis, the original game, is getting remastered and it is coming to PS4, Windows PC, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch this summer.
Are they gonna rework the explosions and make it even more hard to run?
Uh, Probably not.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Um, so yeah, Crisis will be coming to everything, and you'll be able to play it from the comfort of your own couch without having to have a TV, courtesy of the Nintendo Switch.
Cool.
I have never played Crisis,
I
so
played it for like an hour. I hated every second of it.
yeah, we talked about this when the announcement actually came out. Um,
Uh, my initial explanation was it's like playing Far Cry. They say stealth is a thing you can do. It doesn't work, so what's the point?
yeah,
I'm going to try stealthing the crap out of a game, and if it doesn't work, I don't want to play it then.
yeah, the
If I'm
only
given
thing,
that option for stealth. It's like with Splinter Cell, I can go stealth or I can go full on guns blazing.
yeah,
So I'm going to be saving a lot and reloading every time I mess up a stealth segment.
I will probably end up playing this on something at some point. The only thing I knew about Crysis was that it was developed by the same people that did the first Far Cry game,
Mm-hmm.
and then those split. And Ubisoft kept Far Cry, and I think EA published the Crysis games. I think
Maybe
it was EA.
someone did.
I want to say it was EA. Um, but Crytek developed that first yeah,
Frisis. There we go.
Crysis. No,
That's when all the French
Crytek,
fries were gone on Earth. Thanks, Tony.
Crytek
We
developed
thought
that
the
first.
COVID-19 pandemic was bad. Then all the French fries disappeared.
Yeah, that's when things really got out of hand. Um, no, Crytek developed that first Far Cry game, and Ubisoft published. And then I guess they owned the IP, and they went off and developed Crysis. Uh,
Speaking of things that don't run, that probably wouldn't run on a Switch, Bandai Namco a couple of years ago said Jump Force would never be able to run on the Nintendo Switch.
okay, this is that like manga crossover fighting game.
Jump comic or Jump manga, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Your Bobo, your Bleach, your Naruto's, your
yeah,
One Piece, that stuff. And this is that fighting game that released recent, well, probably last 2 years ago or so.
hmm.
Looks really, really good.
It does look really nice.
You have like Dragon Ball characters, and they just, I don't know, just everything looked really good. And it's like, yeah, no way this can run on the Switch. And then here we are 2 years later. Yeah, it's coming to Switch.
If The Witcher 3 can run on the Switch, any game can run on the
I'm
Switch.
pretty sure that's what the what's the word I'm looking for? Your bench. That's your benchmark there.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, this is running on here. I think you can do this. And it's like, you want to bet? And it's like, well, all right. Here's Witcher 3. All right, we'll get the guys down in the lab to work on this.
When it's announced that The Witcher 3 is coming to the platform, any game can come to that platform. So
Yeah.
Witcher 3 has taken over that role from Crysis. If it can run Crysis, it can run anything. Well, now if it can run The Witcher,
If it can dodge a wrench, it can run Crisis.
that's right. Exactly. I'm not sure how dodgeball fits into this whole
I don't
mess.
know. I just had to say something. That seemed to work, right?
So there you go. Well, that will be the news for this week. And also, that's it for the show. We have no listener feedback this week. So send those questions in to us, people.
Be sure to watch our Gears of War 3 Let's LP. I was gonna call it Let's Play, but well, that's abbreviated down to
Same thing.
LP.
Yeah.
Same thing, yeah. Final episode should be up by the time. Well, you know what? I can check right now. Oh yeah, it's public. It's up right now.
All right. Yeah, we finished the fight, and it was great.
It was oh my gosh, a 2 hour long video, Tony.
Is it really?
Yeah, just 2 hours 7 minutes there.
Wow. I think that's the longest one we put out.
Well, we died like 50 times on that boss.
We did die. This is the first time we had like a lot of multiple deaths.
It wasn't.
So
It was a grueling task doing that fight.
it was, but it was very nice when we saw that final cutscene happen.
It really was.
So
And then
now
we
we just have
skipped
to
the
figure out.
credits.
Yeah, we don't need to see these. We just have to figure out what comes next. I think we're talking maybe
Sea of
Sea of Thieves.
Thieves.
So
I had to make room on my Xbox to download it.
yeah, I think I've got it downloaded on mine already.
I
I'll
had to
have to
delete
see.
that Metal Slug 3.
Yeah, we don't need that.
All
So,
right.
well, there you go. That is it. Thank you for being on the show this week, Ethan.
Thank you for hosting the show this week, Tony.
Now it's time to go play Final Fantasy. If you want to reach out to us, we have new ways to do so. You can email us at procedurallygeneratedent@gmail.com. If you like what we do, you can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/pgent. Patreon supporters get the video version of the podcast a day early. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel, and we still have that famous Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.